Okay, good morning, everybody. Today's date is September 25th, 24th or 25th. It's Sunday, 2023. I'm going to be, this video is not going to be, I'm not going to be sharing a lot of statements in this video. The main purpose of this video is to transfer over some audio from the Techno Crime Fighters episode number 70. And it's only going to be segments of, it's segments of the recorded audio from the YouTube video. Now I'm going to share with you right now how to get to this video. Then I'm going to make a couple fast statements, and then I'm going to share with you some segments from it. But understand and know, please, that what is shared in this video related to that audio is going to be limited because I'm trying to get ready to start my day. So I'll be making some more upcoming videos concerning this particular episode, which is the Techno Crime Fighters episode number 70. And you can get to this video by going to YouTube and typing in that YouTube search box, and you can try and find it through Google too. By going to Google and typing in Dr. Catherine Horton Stop 007, that's her YouTube channel. And Catherine is spelled with a K. Dr. Catherine Horton Stop 007 YouTube channel. Press the space on your space bar on your keyboard and then type in Techno Crime Fighters Forum, which is the title of the playlist within her YouTube channel. So, Techno Crime Fighters Forum, Techno, T-E-C-H-N-O. Techno Crime Fighters Forum is the name of the playlist in Dr. Catherine Horton Stop 007 YouTube channel. Now, once you go into that playlist, you want to watch all the videos, but I suggest you start with episode number 70, 71, 58, 30. Pay attention to videos from episode number, let's just say, 8 through 15. Then go back up to the latest videos and pick and choose, and you're going to learn a heck of a lot. I strongly suggest when you go into that playlist that you always, when you watch every video, that you always get out a pen and piece of paper and write down the terminologies described, the descriptions about how technologies are being used, the descriptions of the specific crimes that have names like neural weapons, voice to skull, remote neural monitoring, things like that. Now, that's all I can really say this morning about this. I could say a whole heck of a lot more, but this video is being made on the fly, okay? While I'm trying to get ready to start my day, and I can't have it interrupted any more than it already has. But trust me, I will be making some subsequent videos related to this particular episode. So let me go ahead and play you some audio from it. And if you've never heard of any of these types of descriptions or crimes or the terms that are described within it, just, again, get out a pen and piece of paper, write them down, extensively research them all to organized stalking, gang stalking crimes. So here we go. Hold on. Tape recorder went off. Okay, so here we go.
Dr. Millicent Black and Karen Stewart, because they both have physical therapy sessions. So they may join us later. I hope, they might. But if not, I think we have a few things to talk about this morning, and we'll get right to them. Just as an opener, I should tell people who are new who are watching us that we're here to have a public conversation about surveillance abuse. Not just the surveillance state, the global surveillance state, but surveillance abuse. The abuses, terrors, traumas, and horrors of the global surveillance state, completely illegal, illegitimate, and unwarranted extrajudicial, and should be openly and publicly exposed. And among those, extrajudicial activities that the global terror state is engaging in are the use of electromagnetic weapons and neural weapons on populations, whether they are directed energy weapons that are termed non-lethal weapons or less lethal weapons and being used by your local PD and the local fusion center, or being tested by various contractors like General Dynamics and Raytheon and Boeing and BAE and various other defense contractors for the U.S. government and other governments, or whether they are neural weapons, acoustic weapons, or electromagnetic neural weapons that are indeed...
Okay, bear with me 1 second, folks. The battery ran out. I apologize for that. So this might take a minute for me to get back to where that audio left off. I'm trying to get my day started here, so I kind of forgot that I should have paid attention to the battery level. You can just bear with me. So what I'll do is I'll talk to you while I'm getting some new batteries out. Now, one thing that needs to be understood about what's happening to gang stalking victims is that everything connected to the program of gang stalking is extremely criminal. And all of it is protected, covered up, lied about. And so when you start to investigate gang stalking crimes, and gang stalking crimes is not stalking by the type of gangs that you might first think of. Okay, it's the name of a program. And so, when you dive into the research concerning this crime, you will come to understand that gang stalking targets are being sold into non-consensual human experimentation projects and much more. Okay, so when you start to really research this crime with a mature, patient, investigative posture, you'll be able to deduce the many truths about this crime, so you can see the facts concerning it. Gang stalking victims are extreme torture victims who are being sold into even lifelong slavery, and the slavery is not just about the regular types of slavery that the average human is aware of once they get to be a certain age and they start hearing about slavery and human trafficking and stuff like that. This crime is absolutely involved in those types of human trafficking as well. But there's also other types of human trafficking, like medical racketeering schemes, life insurance schemes, lifelong human experimentation, which incorporates and encompasses non-stop sadistic torture, the extreme sadistic use of neural weapons. Okay, the biropatization of gang stalking victims as a result of neural weapons, electromagnetic weapons, acoustic weapons, and even non-consensual invasive implantation, where most gang stalking victims who are implanted can have up to 70 or more non-consensual invasive biomedical implants put in them from head to toe, which would include the brain, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the jaw, the cheek, even the inside of the mouth, the gums, the neck, okay, the chest, the vast majority of the musculatory system. We're talking about, but not obviously limited to, neuroprosthetic implants, EMG implants, prosthetic eye implants. Is just the extreme criminalities. There is no way that this crime could ever be measured mathematically if you were to draw a mathematical model in order to be able to try and surmise the depth of extreme suffering. And we're talking about brutal sadistic suffering that is being intentionally affected upon gang stalking torture victims. The United Nations, and I'm not a fan of them either, okay, but even the United Nations has declared gang stalking victims as being extreme torture victims. Okay, so what you need to understand, folks, is that completely innocent average people are being put on terrorist watch list through absolute made-up bullshit, complete thorough made-up bullshit. Just average people, people that you see coming and going from school, coming and going from the grocery store, coming and going from anywhere. Banks, post offices, restaurants, just average people, just like you. If you're just an average person out there trying to live and survive and so on, that's the type of people that these 6 satanic filth are putting on the terrorist watch list, which then affords these other connected agencies it affords them the secrecy to allow all the things that happen to the victim, because now the victim has become a non-investigative subject, which in part, I could say a whole lot more about this, but which means in part that no one is allowed to investigate what's actually happening to the victim, because they're supposedly under surveillance as a result of them being on the terrorist watch list, which then means cops are not allowed to investigate what's happening to victims. Okay, courts are not, they're stripped of judicial process rights. And it's nothing but a clever form of covering up everything that's happening to a victim. Trust me, a whole hell of a lot more can be said about this. So basically, at the end of the day, what these satanic filth are doing is selling human beings, because every victim who's put on the terrorist watch list, and many agencies are reported to be intimately connected to this and working together in a covert colluding relationship concerning it. Like the DHS, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the United States military, absolutely, and all the other, main alphabet agencies are massively implicated. They don't give a shit. These people are demonic animals. It's all they are, and it's all they'll ever be. But the power and influence that comes with these, the Patriot Act, the abuse of FISA courts, oh, absolutely, it's all implicated. So, when the average person who doesn't know anything about gang stalking and this crime, when they might hear the word terrorist watch list, they might be thinking about somebody who's being put on a watch list because they got terrorist ties. Folks, oh my God. Folks, what's really going on here is that the vast majority of people who are being put on the terrorist watch list, even parents now, who go to city council meetings to complain about the craziness that's going on in the education system, are now being put on the terrorist watch list. So all you got to do is basically go to a city council and complain, and they will throw you, they will literally throw you on one of these terrorist watch lists. And then from there, you can be secretly sold into the program of gang stalking, which is just a term. It's a name. And then once you are put in the program of gang stalking, your complete life will be totally destroyed, purposely, intentionally, meticulously. Everything, relationships, financial, your ability to work, your ability to gain employment, your ability to find and keep like an apartment or somewhere to stay. The community will be criminally notified about you and told lies so that the community-based gang stalking can be employed against you. And then you will start to be experimented on and tortured nonstop, sadistically, every single day and night until your death, which they induce, by the way. The medical establishment is extremely connected to this crime concerning what's reported, and so is the legal establishment, the judicial process, and the police. So, and the fire department, so all of these, the program as gang stalking is nothing but it's a program, and it operates by and through mechanisms that are attached to the employment descriptions that host it, and their influence over state, county, local governments, state, county, local police, and then how their tentacled then, that influence is then tentacled out and into what you see that makes up society, like universities, which would include university hospitals, and much more. They got control over what happens to your bank account. They got control over what type of health services that you would, the type of health services that you should be able to be normally afforded is completely controlled, absolutely, and managed from behind the scenes. And none of these colluded partners that these satanic filth who are hosting this program are allowed to tell the victim the truth about anything. They're signed into secret, which means they're forced to cooperate with the host. And this affords the satanic, demonic, mass murdering filth to do everything that is happening to each victim. Now, I know that was a mouthful, and I apologize for that, but, you needed to hear it. You need to hear truth. Because these sick, crazy, criminally insane socio-psychopaths, the only thing that matters to them concerning the truth is making sure you don't know it. They don't care about the truth otherwise, okay? Oh, absolutely. Because they know they're involved in all these extreme atrocities. They know they're involved in it. They're making money off it, like you would not believe. So the only time they care about truth is making sure that it don't get out, okay? So just research what I state. Research what I stated. Research how gang stalking victims are being sadistically tortured every single day, nonstop, with acoustic weapons, directed energy weapons, electromagnetic weapons, okay, ultrasound, infrasound, how they're massively reporting being non-consensually implanted, and then the implants are used for nothing but sadistic torture as a result of them being able, because of what type of implants they are, where they're put in, where they are put at within the body, including the brain, literally. I know that sounds crazy, just literally. Okay? And then that allows these absolute, totally criminally insane, to the highest order, psychopathic degenerates to remotely interface with these implants for torture. I'm talking about sadistic, brutal torture. Okay? And then you should also research remote neuromonitoring and voice to skull. So with all that being said, because I got to get going, I got stuff to do today. So let me just do something here. Okay, so I put new batteries in the tape recorder. Let me rewind it for a second. So I'm going to rewind it. Okay, so I rewound it back to where it was before I started playing it. Before the batteries ran out. Bear with me one more second. Now, let me just share a little bit of information with you. This crime intentionally made me homeless from 4 apartments in Michigan and 1 in Tennessee. So I just gave up on renting apartments because you go through thousands of dollars of getting an apartment, refurnishing it, even just getting basics like a bed and a dresser and a TV and a few things for the kitchen, and then paying rent every month, paying your security deposit, paying your utility bills, to just then have your apartment be nonstop broken, be nonstop harassed by close-by neighbors, okay, having your property stolen and damaged when people come in when you and do these things when you leave to go out, okay, and then to be evicted from it, okay, through stage bullshit as a result of these same 6 satanic rats who are hosting it, privately colluding with landlords and fellow tenants. Google all my statements to gang stalking, folks. So I just gave up on renting apartments, okay, and lost everything I owned. I lost everything I owned, okay, which was thousands and thousands of dollars in college books, okay, everything that you see in your home, okay, everything that you see in your home, each room, the bathroom, the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, everything in your basement, everything in your closets, everything that you see, that you know that you got in every one of the rooms of where you live. Imagine losing all of it down to your toothbrush. That's what happened to me in 5 apartments, 4 in Michigan, 1 in Tennessee, where I lost everything, clothes, everything, repeatedly. So what's the point? And then I've lost massive clothes and camping gear as a result of trying to run from this crime. Once they made me homeless in Michigan and Tennessee, then I just started camping, and then I've had to run from camping site to camping site to camping site, losing camping gear, clothes, and just massive amounts of money in just trying to survive, let alone, and you wouldn't believe what I go through in the healthcare costs of trying to keep my body from experiencing nonstop pain, okay? You just would not believe what I'm enduring on a daily basis because of these murdering, torturing, sadist degenerates. You just would not believe it, I kid you not, folks. Okay, I don't do drugs, I don't drink alcohol, I don't hang around anybody at all. Research social infiltration of gang stalking. So I wanted to throw all that out there, and trust me, I could be saying a whole hell of a lot more. Okay, but I want you to know the truth. Okay, these vile animals ain't gonna walk up to any community member and tell you the truth about what they did to me or any other gang stalking victim. Okay, absolutely not. They're never gonna tell the truth in any settings to anybody. Okay, they're never gonna tell the truth. So the only way you're gonna be able to hear the truth is from the victim. Okay, they don't allow the victim to prove they've been tortured through medical tests. They don't allow us to tell the truth in court, even when you got indisputable, in-your-face massive evidence. They don't allow you to prove it. They absolutely don't allow you to prove it through the organized crime, corrupt police. Okay, you should also know the fire department's connected to this crime, big time. That's a friggin' lootly. Yeah. Research about how fire department and police sirens are constantly told to go by victims' homes for sound harassment, which is actually much more than just that. But if I start going off into all that, if I start explaining about what's actually attached to the noise harassment connected to gang stalking, then that will become a huge part of the subject matter of this video. And I can get bogged down in talking to you. This video was actually being made only for one purpose, to expose to you segments from this Techno Crime Fighter episode, which I'm getting ready to start playing again. But I'll make a follow-up video to expose to you many more things. It's extremely, extremely easy to get bogged down into talking about this crime because there's so much involved in it and there's so many details attached to it. You could end up speaking for 45 minutes about one detail. I kid you not. And, I don't know how this video is coming across to you, or what you're immediately deducing from it, but just trust me. Research what I state. So here's the audio. Listen, take notes, research what you hear, and keep researching.
Alright, we're live. So good morning everyone, and welcome to Techno Crime Fighters Forum number 70, that's 70. I'm Romola D, this is Romola D Reports, and I'm here this morning with Dr. Catherine Horton from Switzerland. I'm sitting outside on my deck. This is Quincy, Massachusetts. And it looks like I have an echo. Alright, let me take care of that. And so anyway, this morning we're missing Dr. Millicent Black and Karen Stewart because they both have physical therapy sessions. So they may join us later. I hope, they might. But if not, I think we have a few things to talk about this morning, and we'll get right to them. Just as an opener, I should tell people who are new who are watching us that we're here to have a public conversation about surveillance abuse. Not just the surveillance state, the global surveillance state, but surveillance abuse. The abuses, terrors, traumas, and horrors of the global surveillance state, completely illegal, illegitimate, and unwarranted extrajudicial, and should be openly and publicly exposed. And among those, extrajudicial activities that the global terrorist state is engaging in are the use of electromagnetic weapons and neural weapons on populations. Whether they are directed energy weapons that are termed non-lethal weapons or less lethal weapons and being used by your local PD and the local fusion center, or being tested by various contractors like General Dynamics and Raytheon and Boeing and BAE and various other defense contractors for the U.S. government and other governments, or whether they are neural weapons, acoustic weapons, or electromagnetic neural weapons that are indeed interfacing with the brain using brain-computer interface chips and BCI technology, or simply, using EMFs or other kinds of RF technologies to induce voices, induce sounds, sensations, smells, images, synthetic dreams, implants, what have you, into the human brain. We are living in the age of the invasion of the human brain, and there are some very dark forces in our militaries and intel agencies that are not really experimenting with these ghastly technologies. They are using them on people. So people do need to speak openly about that, and that's what we are all about.
Now, I just want to interject a fast statement here. RF means radio frequency. So, a lot of the non-consensual implantation that is happening to gang stalking victims are... excuse me a second, please. A lot of the non-consensual invasive means where they are implanted in the victim. A good majority of the non-consensual, which means that the victim has been implanted without their knowledge, their conscious awareness of it, or consent, their conscious verbal consent to be implanted. Okay, our radio telemetry implants, which means they got the ability to interface with the area of the body, okay, through radio frequencies. So that would then afford the perpetrators to be able to remotely interface with them using radio telemetry. Okay? Now you need to know that radio waves have radiation on them. So radio frequency weapons can be a form of directed energy weapons. Because when the radio frequency is sent to interface with that implant, the radio wave itself has radiation on it. And since the radio wave is directed to the implant, then that radio wave becomes a directed energy weapon because it's being directed at the implant that's in the victim, and the radio wave has radiation on it. So therefore it becomes an energy weapon, making it a directed energy weapon. Now I know that might have seemed a little bit of a mouthful there, but when you go back and listen to, I'll try and state it in a short sequential way. Radio signals emit radiation, just like your cell phone does. Absolutely. And you better always make sure you never put that cell phone up to your ear at any time for any reason. Oh, absolutely. And keep it at least 6 to 12 feet away from you when you're talking on it. Absolutely. Never hold your cell phone up close to any part of your anatomy, especially your organs. Absolutely. And I suggest that you buy a EMF reader so you can see how much radiation is coming from your phone. Absolutely. So anyways, to just give you a brief, fast, sequential statement so you can see the radio wave interface with implants, which is done remotely by the perpetrators to the implanted victim. The radio wave is sent to the implant remotely from a distance, and when it reaches the implant itself, the radio wave has radiation on it. So in order for the radio wave to reach the implant, it's got to be directed to that proximity of where the victim's at, because the implant is in the victim. So that means it's a directed radio wave, and the radio wave has radiation on it. So once the radio wave interfaces with the implant, it produces radiation, making it a directed energy weapon, because the radiation is energy. The radio wave is energy. And the implant is being intentionally used as a conductor for the radiation, okay, making it a weapon. So that means that the area of the body that's got the implant is being intentionally cooked alive with radiation. Okay? They know what they're doing. There's no way this crime cannot know what they're doing concerning every crime they perpetrate. There's no way they cannot know. Okay? Folks, it's plain and simple, because when you put an implant in a human being, okay, even when you're using it for stated research, okay, they still know that two things: that they're interfacing with the implant for the research, and this crime is also equally, okay, concerning an additional equally important motive, is to intentionally use the implant for radiation torture. So in other words, they got at least two equally important motives. One, to use the implant for research, and two, to use the implant for intentional, purposely intentional perpetrated torture. Okay? Oh, absolutely. And that's done for many, many, many reasons. Okay? So I wanted to let you know that, because when you, if you can get very cost effective, very, you can get EMF detectors through Amazon, or through, you can probably go and buy a cheap one at Walmart. Because EMF detectors, even a cheaper one, you can get some through Amazon for $23. And you can go on Amazon, you can look for them, and then you can copy and paste their make and model to Google and YouTube to see how that the fact that some of these EMF detectors work fine enough for you to be able to buy one, so it can accurately show you how much your phone emits radiation. Well, what's happening to gang stalking victims is a lot worse than that. Okay? Oh, absolutely. So I just wanted to throw that in there, because you need to know that your cell phone is emitting massive amounts of radiation. Absolutely. Absolutely, folks. Absolutely. When it's connected to Wi-Fi and or your service provider, it is emitting a lot of radiation, because it's communicating with a cell phone tower, and that's a radio signal. And a radio signal emits radiation. So let me go back to the audio, and I can't really share any more dialogue with you about anything that you might hear from this audio, because I got to get going, and stopping and doing this discussion with you is time consuming, and I'm already running late. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to play the audio, and then I'll, just say goodbye, and I'll make a follow-up video concerning this subject matter.
So, welcome again, and they've got the plane starting up here, so every time I come sit out here, there are drones, planes, helicopters, so be ready for the show. I might just show you something. I can hear them. I think it's basically they've started to route the commercial planes across in a diagonal. I don't know if you can see them, but I'll try to show it. I don't know if you saw that. Well, it's kind of hard to see because the video is too bright, so we can't look at that. What people can do, and actually we should encourage them, because there's something called the 24-hour flight tracker or something like that. I think that's a good one. We should find it and put up the link, but it's very, very important. So actually I will search for it in a moment. But I think it's called the 24-hour flight tracker, and you can see the trajectory. Oh, there's Millicent. Millicent's here, wonderful. Hi, Millicent. Hi, Millicent. Okay, so you can see the flight path of all the commercial airlines, and you can see that there's an entire flight path, being diverted onto Ramula's house, and that happens to a lot of people, and it was very hard to believe for a long while. People, if they, somebody said, "Oh, I've got all these planes being diverted to fly over my house," you would be laughed at. But now with the 24-hour flight tracker, you can actually see it and screenshot it, because what that is about is, first of all, the cartel, the criminal cartel, owns also the airlines, so it's very easy for them to do. They have money without end, so fuel is not an issue. And it's what they're building is an integrated warfare system. And what many people don't know is that commercial airliners have got military weapons technology loaded onto them. So I think in the UK there was already newspaper articles about the fact that commercial airlines can be at the drop of the hat be converted into military planes, should that be required, because they carry most of the parts. I think Preston James wrote an article in Veterans Today a couple of years ago touching on this particular subject, that indeed commercial planes are being outfitted with electronic warfare systems. If you think about it, it's just going to look like computer equipment. It's just going to be shoved in with the rest of the airplane stuff, the dashboard stuff. So it's probably very easy to hide. Absolutely. I think this is exactly what is happening. And what that means is that when the crime cartel is starting to do live war games, they will pick targets, and they will will try to machine gun them in their homes with these commercial airlines. So you will see commercial airlines diverting to fly over your house because they are mock killing you, they're aiming at you. So that's exactly what's happening. But anyway, so now we're moving towards court cases, and the 24-hour flight track is a very good one because you'll see little icons of planes move across, and you can screenshot it and then have the exact timestamp, date, and time. And then later on, we can request flight logs and find out why exactly those planes were flying that way. And if you do it over a long period of time, that's going to be excellent evidence. But it does certainly happen. So I've got some news. I've got some really big news. I've got two really, 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 really big news. Number one, the affidavit template is finished. Hooray! And it is going to be released today. The reason why it's not available for download is, as it always happens, the day on the release, I found a formatting error, which means I have to go through all the steps and I have to reset the cells and make sure it doesn't come out wonky when you print to PDF. So what I did today, and this is why the show is starting late, because I was late, is I had to flee my home and I went to the local McDonald's where I was trying to work because the attacks on me became brutal. So the neighbor lady to the west, she has got a weapon set up and is into my home, and the neighbors is doing the same thing. So I was working at the McDonald's, and that went actually excellently. I got some work done, but I eventually, when they thought I'm being just too productive, they came and I was shot at from little mobile phones, and I was trying to film the perpetrators, but I was also blasted by a massive white van, and I think it's called something like the Night Express. I've seen vans like that already, and it's they have a star, a cross on them, which looks a bit like the NATO star. So I think those are actually warfare units, and it might be a fake company, but I have seen them too many times, and these are massive white vans. So as I was sitting in McDonald's using their Wi-Fi and their power sockets, great actually, and their coffee is amazing. But as I was sitting there, suddenly I felt, oh my goodness, my head is about to explode, and then I was trying to figure out who is it in the room, and there was nobody with a mobile phone. And eventually I turned my head and I saw this massive van that had appeared. So we really need to find out who owns that company, and I think I'm collecting more and more evidence to pin them now. But anyway, so the good news is the affidavit template is finished, and the actual collection will start at midnight tonight when the affidavit will be available for download. And what that means is that there are also notes being prepared, and I will prepare a video to explain how you fill it in, and I'll walk people through. But what it means is now, tonight at midnight will be the start shot for the race into courts, and the race to actually stop these criminal psychopaths. Because later on today, especially Ramola has a video she would like to discuss about people being the crime cartel members, openly talking about brain mutilation, giving people brain strokes, crippling people, and they are presenting it as if this was socially acceptable. These are the worst Nazi crimes imaginable, So now the affidavit template will be a real race into courts, because we have to get a court order to stop these people, and if we cannot stop them via court order, the only last resort is a military solution. And the military solution means that somebody needs to go and needs to blow their fucking brains out to stop them. I'm sorry, but this is exactly what it came down to, because now one of the things we are certainly seeing is that people are being murdered in droves. So people are being murdered in communities, people are in my family friend circle, people are dying in large numbers, and victims are contacting me and they are saying, look, all our family members are dying. So these Nazi psychopaths, they are not joking. They want us all dead, and they've got a very tight schedule that they want more than half of us dead over the next 7 years. So the murdering has started, and it's going. And unfortunately, any judge who's not going to follow the rule of law and is going to give us nonsense, well, he has to go on the list, and we have to get a military solution for these corrupt judges as well. But I don't really want to think about that. What I really want to think about is finding a civilized solution. So this is it, and I'm saying this not to scare you, but I'm saying that to everybody who's listening, so that you take this seriously. So this affidavit template took me a lot of work. I nearly died several times doing that. They have severely, done damage to my body over this period by just retaliatory attacks. So this affidavit template is free for you, but for me has been developed at a tremendous cost. So the only way that it's going to be worthwhile for me and for humanity is if you really help me now. You help me you fill it out honestly, you take part, and you help to blow this wide open. And please know that if you are capable of filling this out, for every one of you, there are thousands of people who will not be able to fill this out for some reason, either because they don't have a computer, because they are homeless, or because they're in a personal situation whereby they literally just cannot or are far too scared. So we have to take this seriously. And now it's really, it's now past midnight in terms of this criminality. Fortunately, we do have some Secret Service people who are helping us and whistleblowers who are helping us honestly. We also do have some fake whistleblowers who are, I think, covert CIA agents and FBI agents, and we will weed them out. I will really weed them out. Every single one I identify, I will just make public, because these people are committing crimes against humanity as well. They are lying and they are, literally throwing us down. I've got some bird shrieking in the background. Ramula, I'm sorry.
Is that me? Sorry.
It's not you. It's some bird that started up and is screaming its head off in the background. I think it's a frequency that just gets amplified. But
It's a blue jay.
oh, I see. That's what they sound like. We don't have birds like that over here in Switzerland.
Yeah, he is shrieking.
It's important to be screaming like that in Switzerland, But anyway, so the other good news I have, and this shows you, again, it's kind of good news, but also really bad news, and it shows the utter urgency of this matter, is on Tuesday, I was working with Siegfried Thomas here in Switzerland, so he came here. On last Tuesday, I was in his neighborhood, and we were walking around and collecting evidence in his environment, and that's where we discovered that actually there's a lot of cartel signaling on the front doors of exactly the people that he later said were involved. And then he came, in return, he came over to me, and we were working in here on Tuesday. And then after we talked through the case, we went to my local police station, and in return for me helping him, he presented himself, as a reporting victim and as a witness, and also as a witness to the fact that I'm, his expert witness in his court case. So the most astounding thing unfolded when we went to the police station, because we walked in and I said, first of all, we had to wait ages for somebody to turn up, and it's these people sit 5 meters away from the little glass cabin, because this is a tiny police station. So it was pretty clear no one really wanted to talk to us. But eventually they turned up, and yes, I said, look, here's a prime witness who can say, he can confirm that he's being assaulted with directed energy weapons. His wife is nearly being killed all the time. He can also confirm that the attacks on women are so much harder. What happened is that the police was utterly uninterested. And I said, but look, he's the main witness, you're the police. Can you just make a record that we were here, maybe ask him some questions? Are you at all interested? And the guy who was there, he said, no, Mr. Schoch is on the case, and it's best to talk to him. And I said, well, yes, but Mr. Thomas is only here today, so how about you take some records or some statements from him, from Mr. Schoch, perhaps? But no, he didn't want to do that. And then I said, do you know about my case? And he said, yes, of course I know about your case. That's the, and he said, I'm trying to translate from German, he said, this is what everybody is talking about, isn't it? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, you have sent these letters to the neighbors, and now everybody is calling our police station. And at first first I didn't even understand, because the Swiss word he used for, everybody's calling our phone was Läuten. And in German, Läuten means somebody's ringing your doorbell. And I thought at first he means, everybody's ringing now my doorbell. And I thought, how the hell does he know that I've got all these perps coming to my door, ringing my doorbell? Because that's true, it happens. And then Siegfried Thomas, who speaks Swiss German so much better than me, he translated, it was a bit like South Park, it's like, what did Kenny just say? And then Siegfried Thomas, so I don't understand, he said, what he's saying is that everybody is calling them on the phone. I said, what? And he said, yes, now, after he sent the letters, everybody is calling us on the phone. And I thought, well, that is really big news, because what it means, no one would be spending, days later and weeks later calling the police station just because they got a letter, No, what these people are calling them about is the attacks on them. And now they say, hang on, this is what's going on in the neighborhood. This is why, this is why we have all these symptoms. This is why we have all these pains. This is why we have the feeling that people keep breaking into our home,
Catherine, that's absolutely fantastic that the neighbors are taking action. And the thing that's great about your letter campaign is you actually spelled out how the radiation going through people's walls actually is going to hit them as well. And they are going to come up with weird health symptoms. This is why they've become suddenly arthritic, and this is why they've got heart pains, and this is why they're getting migraines, and they're getting fatter, because their hormones are being affected.
Exactly. And also, I more and more suspect that when pulse shots are ripping through your body, that the cell tissue or the cell walls are being damaged, because something is happening that people start retaining a lot of water, and I think there's some sort of cell wall damage happening, and I can certainly feel the shots ripping through, and they have tortured me the last couple of days with swelling my legs artificially, so they can do that, but they seem to be machine gunning into people's legs. So if you have odd swelling, swelling where you feel like, oh my god, I don't mean you, Ramon, I mean the listeners, where you feel like, oh my goodness, the skin is so tight, it feels like the skin is bursting, then you're most likely the victim of a direct-to-energy weapon attack.
I'm sure. And the other things that people report these days are short-term memory loss. Everybody's got dementia and Parkinson's, at the age of 20 and 30 and 8 years old. And as a kid in my neighborhood recently has been diagnosed with short-term memory loss. We're talking about 11-year-old. So there's brain damage being, instituted over here on a large scale. Plus fibromyalgia. How often have you heard that? People suddenly developing pains all over their bodies. Really? Pains all over their bodies? What are they connected with? Your nervous system? No, they're connected with these tiny little weapons that anybody can use, and that you wouldn't see, because they're talking about invisible radiation and spectrum weapons.
Yeah, and the other thing that really opened my eyes is, so for those people who are new to this, I'm sitting in a metal shed and I'm surrounded by metal, and I'm not just surrounded by metal, I am surrounded by reinforced metal. So there's a metal shed and there are extra layers of aluminium and steel, okay, and I've bought now all the metal panels of 2 DIY stores, and I have to keep going to new stores in the same chain because they can't get the supply in as fast as I'm buying it, just to try to protect myself. This is actually true, right? I literally bought their supply of metal panels.
Catherine, I have to say that's a very elegant solution, a shed. I don't know if they have metal sheds over here in the U.S. I do recall looking for them at some point. I was looking for everything, even metal lockers, metal coffins to sleep in. Literally, it's that bad. But as you know, some of these weapons, they do, perhaps they're using scalar wave tech, because they do penetrate certain layers, certain amounts of layers. So this is possibly why you're also reinforcing.
This is exactly the point I wanted to get to, is that one of the things I discovered is I can now absolutely prove that this is military technology and this is exotic physics, because there shouldn't be anything that I know that can punch through and cause the types of effects, like literally audible loud impact and actual dents into alufoil when you're surrounded by metal, and when you're sitting on the other side of a wall. So in particle physics, you could cause this sort of effect with a particle beam, but the particle beam would have to travel in vacuum. Okay, so if you took, for example, the Large Hadron Collider, and you somehow managed to put your hand into the beam, well, yeah, you would get this sort of attack, but you could never put your hand into the beam, because to maintain the vacuum and even contain the beam, we have to have almost near perfect vacuum, because as soon as the electrons, that energy hits a single molecule of air, they scatter everywhere. So in other words, in the type of physics I know, as soon as you have a wall and you've got several bits of metal, you should be protected. Nothing should be able to create this sort of effect. So the fact that I can measure it, and I'm going to upload a video tonight about me filming how I'm going to bed for 3 hours. I'm sleeping for 3 hours, and you can hear the impact non-stop, the actual patter of shots against the shielding inside the shielded metal shed. Now, the reason why I'm really making a big thing out of this is the following. If you have this sort of effect after 3 or 4 layers of metal, if you don't have 3 or 4 layers of metal and you just have a concrete wall, it will go through it like butter. So it means it will go through several walls, 2, 3, 4 walls. So if anywhere in your neighborhood somebody's firing these weapons, they might go through 2 buildings and hit you, or hit your baby, or hit your children. And when you have all these gang stalkers firing these weapons, what you have is this background, like a machine gunning scatter background, that is hitting pretty much everybody, non-stop, 24/7.
And I think it's important that you stress things like that, Catherine, as you just said. They can hit your babies. They can hit your babies sleeping in their cribs or cradles or beds or whatever. They can hit toddlers. They can hit 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds. They can hit 7-year-olds. They can hit your children. They can hit your parents. They can hit your elderly parents and make them worse while they're trying to recover from various ailments or surgeries or whatever.
And in fact, what a good job you emphasize that, because we have evidence that it's not just that they can hit the baby, they specifically aim for the babies and the elderly because they want to kill them off. So if you're in the wage earning slave age, what it means is that you're more productive to the cartel, especially for the pensioners. You're deploying a pension that they have stolen a long time ago, so they want you dead. If you're a toddler, well, they try to control the population, so they want to kill all the children. They want to kill it off to control the population size. So unless you're, earning a big buck, and I don't know, if you're a contract killer for the crime cutter, you're probably safe, up to a point until they want to get rid of you too. But unless you're a contract killer for the crime cartel, you're totally disposable. If you're a child or a baby, you're an active target because of the genocide program. And if you're elderly, forget it. You might as well just snuff it today. That's basically it.
Yeah, and also we shouldn't forget that they're using Neurotech, So this is why, I don't know, I was recently writing, I haven't finished this little Twitter factual fiction marathon that I started. I don't know if you saw some of my tweets, but I kind of riffed on that lone wolf terrorist, domestic terrorist man there. And I'm having a lot of fun, but I'm also putting out the actuality of what's going on, It's obviously under using the vehicle of fiction, the thin vehicle of fiction. It's factual fiction. But, one of the things that I said there was, and that I think it's important to remind ourselves of, is the Neurotech currently has advanced to such a point where literally it's like point and shoot. They can Neurotech babies to scream. They can Neurotech children to scream, and they are indeed doing that. If you've ever traveled on a plane recently, you might have noticed that there are sudden bursts of extreme sound, chaos, eruptions. And I submit that these are completely contrived with neurotechnology that's being aimed at people. So if there's a target on a plane and they're unable to hit that target continuously for whatever purpose, whatever reason, you know, whether it's shielding or this person is moved or whatever, they start hitting everybody around, and they especially hit the babies and make them scream. So for those of you who think that this is, you know, sci-fi, hi-fi, beyond conception of possibility, etc., you need to go to James Giordano's videos online on YouTube and just check them out. And one of them I will indeed play a little bit later, called From Bench to Battlefield, Brain Science from Bench to Battlefield. And he literally, I mean, this is a guy who's working very much inside the military, inside the intelligence agencies, is perfectly aware that people are being targeted, people are being experimented on, and people are being assaulted with neurotech. He speaks openly about this neurotech, but he speaks about it from the point of view of a top military strategist, who, by the way, is also a quote-unquote neuroethicist, which is simply a case of the fox guarding the henhouse. When military neuroweapon designers and makers, when military neuroscientists come along and tell the rest of us that they are neuroethicists, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to relegate you to the back of the room and, you know, listen to all of the other people who are true ethicists and true human rights advocates first before I listen to you. Because clearly this is an attempt to totally take over the field, to say, oh yes, we neuroethicists are looking at it, we're examining all of this very closely. You know, the brain is now completely malleable, completely open, completely accessible, but we neuroethicists are here to make sure that humanity is safe, everything is being done for the public good, for the moral good, you know, public health. Surveillance is actually public health, and that indeed is something he says in his video, in his little talk that he gave at Lawrence Livermore National Labs last year, a video that's been circulating among many of us, thanks to Dr. Ed Spencer finding it, while he was sitting in a hospital bed himself and sending it out to other people. So, could you bring it up on your screen right now? Okay, sure. Let me. I haven't seen it yet because I was busy, so I missed out on all this correspondence. And I think you gave me a brief description, and from what I've heard, it is just a mind-blowing interview. It is. His medicine tree appeared. Okay, here it is. This is the video. Oh, and it's open at this slide, as you can tell, which talks about how these neuroweapons are being used. Just a second, because all I see your browser and I think a previous version of the Technoforum. No, it's number 70. I see number 70, but I just see still images. Okay, they are very slowly showing it to you, I think, because that's where I started, and now I'm looking at this screen with the slide. You're not there yet? No, it's not. On my end, it's not showing yet. I can check if I can see it on the... No, in the YouTube video, it's also not showing yet. It's not showing yet. Well, I'll let you know as soon as it's... Not yet? Okay. Because it's showing over here at my end. Let me see if I can close some other windows. Maybe that will help. Yeah, maybe close the one which just has restore session and the Technocrime Fighters current episode. That seems to be a browser with just 2 tabs. I did close it. That's still showing at your end? Yeah. Alternatively, stop sharing your screen and restart sharing the screen. Maybe it's... that's a good idea. Okay. This very much looks like a hack to me. Yeah. Alright. I've stopped at this point. Let me just close the other windows and then go back to sharing. Yes, one of the things I wanted to say about this guy is that we have to remember that when you're dealing with people in the military or the secret services, like Gina Haspel, the way the selection process works is by the time you reach these people near or at the top, it's almost psychopathy pure. So when you're dealing with these sadistic psychopaths, one of their key traits is pathological lying. So they actually make a sport out of pathological lying. So when he presents himself as a neuroethicist, well, this is an example of pathological lying. What he actually is a Nazi psychopath preparing to brain mutilate children so that his own offspring can look better while everybody else is brain mutilated. And we are talking about babies being brain mutilated in the cribs, okay, in your own home, and you have no control over it.
I want to share something with you, my fellow American citizens. You need to understand, everything they have said in this video is absolutely, completely true. If you don't know anything about this crime at all, you might think to yourself initially, this sounds bizarre, this sounds crazy, I don't understand this, what's going on? That's completely normal, because you're being presented with things you've never heard of. Therefore, the brain is going to have a lot of holes in your understanding because you don't have that filler information yet that would fill up the holes. Now, as you proceed with your research, you will get that filler information, and your jaw is going to drop. You need to also immediately know, that it's widely recorded, including in this video that you're hearing the audio from, and in many, 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 many other of the videos dedicated to this playlist, and thousands of videos that are on the internet are also, and blogs and much more. And we're talking about from very intelligent, educated victims. Consider this. If you, the brain is a very, it's a very magnificent, the brain itself is capable of so many magnificent feats concerning its features and operations. It will organize data. Just like we all know that when we go throughout the school process, you learn your A, B, C's, your alphabets. Then you go on to learn higher education. And so then, therefore, that in order to understand calculus, you got to take arithmetic, okay? Then you got to take, algebra, and then trigonometry, and so on. So you're not going to understand calculus until you take these prerequisites, these earlier maths. Well, in the study of this crime, you're not going to see how the neural weaponry, the fact that they exist, what they are, how they operate, until you get that filler information in. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way life is. You're not going to be able to fully understand something until you do the research. But I'm here today to tell you right now, when people who've done the research for even over a decade or more, and we're talking about thorough research, massive research, we can present information to you in a summary way, where we can just, throw out statements, but you should know these statements come from massive educated knowledge. Okay, like for instance, when we're telling you right now that it's widely reported that these weapons are also mobile, which means you can go to a coffee shop and some low-life animal who will come in and play the role that they're just there to do research while they're drinking coffee, like an internet cafe coffee shop where you can go in and sit down at the table and get on the internet with your phone or computer while you're drinking coffee and maybe eating a croissant. Well, what they'll do is follow the target into the coffee shop. Same thing with the library, even a grocery store. Okay, even at a bus stop. I kid you not. I literally kid you not. And what these animals will do is they'll dress up to make themselves look like another average person. And they'll either have the device in their backpack, briefcase, handbag, and they can even have a device that literally looks like an average cell phone. I kid you not. Okay, and they'll sit somewhere directly around the victim. They can sit 2 seats down, they can sit right next to the victim, they can sit directly across from the victim, right in that victim's, within at least 100 feet. Okay, they will sit around the victim, and they will act like they're just there working on their computer, enjoying some coffee. They'll pretend to have cell phone conversations with someone, and whatever is on their person and or in their direct physical possession, like in a backpack, they'll turn it on and aim it towards that victim to fry out the victim's abdomen, to fry out their chest, to fry out their brain, to fry out their throat, to fry out their knees, their ankles. I kid you not. Okay? They can also park their vehicles in the parking lot right outside the building that the victim is in. And because when you watch Techno Crime Fighters episode number 28, you're going to see a German... Hold on. You're literally going to see Dr. Catherine Horton present to you a website that literally shows the sale of these weapons that have been manufactured to fit into the cars, so they can fit into cars of perpetrators, and even devices that can be covertly hidden in the victim's car. So when the victim goes and gets in their car, they can put an emitter or another type of weapon in the back seat of the car seat. You know, the part of the seat that goes up and you rest your back up against. They can put it in the seat that you sit down on and fry out your pancreas, your abdominal area, your chest, the back of your head. And they can prop it up also, concerning what's reported, in the engine blocks and other areas of a vehicle that can miraculously pull up behind a victim when the victim is in their car and they pull up to a street light. Their vehicle will be placed right behind them so that they can turn it on, and that those weapons and their energies will go through the victim's car to hit the victim. Okay? This is how bad this crime is. I kid you not. So they can get you anywhere. And by the way, as far as you hearing her talk about frequent plane flyovers, that's one of the most commonly reported things that tens of thousands of victims are complaining about. I got hundreds of audio files that show planes in the air nonstop all day. Different types of planes too. Helicopters, planes, and you wouldn't believe some other stuff that I have got concerning evidences. So you need to understand something about these sick, vile animals who host this crime. They don't give a shit. I mean, come on, folks. It's widely reported that they're targeting children of all ages, from literally, infants that can't even crawl yet, literally, infants to the elderly. Now, we got a mentality, a pathology that would do this. It's reported literally that there are hundreds of thousands of victims in America, but tens of thousands of those are online reporting it daily. So, you know, I think that when we are, hold on one second. I think once we start doing the research, the thorough research, with a mature, patient, honest, investigative posture, and you got to wait for that data too. You can't just study this for a week or a month. You got to be committed to it, and you better start researching this, because this weaponology that they're using is incorporated within pretty much every facet of life. Okay, it's even implicated in the smart meters that have been put on homes all across America. I kid you not. It doesn't matter how this sounds to you right now. Just do the research, sweethearts. Just do it. Okay. These people are sadists. They're demented, literally demented, criminally insane socio-psychopaths who, oh, absolutely, make no mistake about it, folks, ever. It does, you know. So the only thing that educated victims can do is we can try our best to, one, first survive, which is almost impossible. Oh, absolutely. Do you remember, like, how you just heard Dr. Catherine Horton state she had to flee her home and go to a McDonald's? And then initially she was doing fine, and then all of a sudden she started feeling like she was enduring attacks. She looked outside and there was a big white van. Well, how many times have I seen big white and big gray vans in parking lots of businesses when I've been there? Could it be hundreds of times? Okay. You would not, because you just would not. What you got to understand about these sick, vile animals is that they look at this as a job. Just like when a person gets up and they go to work every day. They go to work, they do their job, they come home, they eat dinner, they spend time with their family, they go to bed, they get up the next day and do the same thing. Well, that's exactly what these people are like. They get up and their work is to torture victims that leads then to their death. This is their work. They don't look at it as anything except for work. Okay? They don't care at all in any way, shape, or form. That includes, by the way, the police and the fire department's role in this crime, and the hospital's involvement in this crime. They don't care at all. They don't care at all. Period. Okay? There's not 1 millimeter of empathy or human concern about the victim at all. They're devoid of human empathy. Okay? Absolutely. They don't care at all. To them, it's a paycheck. They get up, they do their work, they get paid, and they go about their lives. That's it. So they're literally sadistically torturing human beings for a paycheck. Okay? Non-stop every day, just for the sake of a paycheck. So, whenever you see your fire department, San Diego Fire Department has been implicated by many, many people over the years. I've seen the blogs, okay? And so have SDPD and SDSD. And I could say, in fact, I'm going to say just a couple things about that. Look, we all know that when we go to work, that we realize that our job is paying our bills. We all know it, okay? And so we eventually at least become partially, consciously, and even unconsciously loyal to that job and to our fellow workers. That's natural. And to your employer, because that's natural, because you realize where you're at in the grand scheme of things. Hey, look, I'm a human being. I got to eat. I got to be able to pay my bills, take care of my family. That's completely normal, and it's absolutely healthy. But what you got to understand here is that when you have a type of employment description that's being used to hurt innocent people, this crime has no right to hurt even guilty people. It doesn't, because everything they do is a crime, and you don't have a right to commit a crime against anybody. That's supposedly what our judicial process is supposed to be about. Okay? Uncorruptly investigating someone. If they're found to be committing a crime, you then get the evidence, you arrest them, you prosecute them, and then let the courts take over. You don't have a right to use your employment description against an innocent person or even a guilty person to do any aspect of this crime. But you see, that's not what this crime is about to begin with, though. This crime is not about targeting criminals because they're supposedly involved in current criminal activity. This crime is about picking everybody and anybody they can get a hold of to achieve crime motivations. So no police officer can put on their uniform and say to themselves honestly, mentally or spiritually, okay, or morally, that I'm going to go to work today and do a good job to protect my society if you're being controlled by organized crime whores that are literally sadistically torturing people and murdering them. Completely innocent people, mostly, okay? How can you say that you're a cop? How can you say that you are a police officer if you are taking orders and or working on behalf and or directly, intimately connected to these people? You can't say that you're a cop. You're a murderer. You're a literal criminal. And the same thing with the fire department. Now, you got to understand something, my fellow American citizens. The type of people that don't care, there are probably cops that would prefer to see these assholes go directly to jail but can't stop them. Okay, that is marginally understandable, because if they say anything, they'll be targeted too. Well, that's marginally understandable, because that is actually the reality. So that is marginally understandable. But you got to still understand something, though. At the end of the day, even that cop will be used against you because he takes orders. And the same thing concerning the fire department. And the same thing concerning the doctors and the nurses in the hospital. When a gang-stalking victim has been, their entire brain and or body has been saturated with radiation, even to the point to where they can't walk, and they manage to get up to a hospital, that doctor in the hospital it's reported they've already been colluded with to not do a damn thing, to fake medical test results. Okay? So they're wearing uniforms. How much do they honestly care to themselves? Or are they just saying to themselves, I have no power over this. I have no way to tell the truth because my boss is telling me to not tell the truth? Or is it an organized crime syndicated doctor who already knows the truth and just doesn't care because he's doing what he's told on behalf of this organized crime syndicate? So you see, we as human beings, we as being gang-stalking victims, we can't afford to give them quarter or concern or understanding, because at the end of the day, their employment description still will be used against you, no matter if they mentally agree with what's happening to you or not. They are controlled. Okay? So you can have sympathy for their employment description, because if their employment description is being used to commit a crime against you, they are going to always defend themselves, and their fellow police officers will always come to their assistance because cops stick together. And the same thing concerning the hospital staff. Will protect the hospital, and the hospital will protect the staff. So at the end of the day, you're alone. You're alone in this. And so you say to yourself, is it me against them? Or is it me against the people who are controlling them? Or is it, look, when you got an employment description, whether it's a good person or a bad person, if that person's being controlled, you no longer have power over being able to stop that person from being used against you. Therefore, you have to include that person in your exposures. It doesn't matter, because then it is now then their fight to defend themselves. It's no longer your responsibility to defend yourself against them being used against you. It's their responsibility, because you already got enough on your plate. Okay, being targeted, you already got enough on your plate. So you don't have to worry about them, hold on. So you don't have to worry about all this. And I gotta let you go because my battery is, my charger has been depleted. So I want you to know that I have seen many, many reports over the years about the San Diego Fire Department being intimately involved in this crime, including in many cities within the county. And that could that include the San Diego Fire Department that is dedicated to the county of Claremont, the Claremont area, and La Jolla, by the way. Okay? Hey, look, you can't commit a crime and then expect to walk away scot-free. You can't run up and down the street, intentionally running up and down the street, purposely. And if you don't think that this crime will not fake police calls and fake calls so that the fire department will come out, think again. I've seen the testimonies. Oh, absolutely. Because you got to remember, when the fire department is intentionally running up and down the street, and the police department is intentionally running up and down the street with their sirens blasting, well, victims, as long as they're alive, and if they're logging these sound harassment events by their dates, they might be able to come back one day and bite them on the ass for it. So if you don't think that the city or county will not fake, emergency calls, think again. You need to understand the extent that this crime will go to, because they always cover their ass. Always. Concerning all issues. Okay? Oh, absolutely. Make no mistake about it. So, we can say to ourselves as human beings, if I worked for a pizzeria and my boss was committing a crime through the pizzeria and he asked me to do a little thing to make that would then, where that little thing would be something that would maybe cover up, something that the boss did or another employee did, would I do it knowingly? Knowing if I knew the whole scope of what was being done because of the crime and all of its effects? Am I a person, or am I a uniform? Okay? Well, in today's world, folks, it's very hard a lot of times it's very hard for people to separate themselves from the identity related to their employment description, because of the loyalty and the type of employment description that they got does not allow them to speak up. Okay? It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, this victim is still being victimized. So who is ever telling the good cops and the good fire department personnel to do these types of things, they're the ones who belong in jail. And then the good cops and the good fire department personnel need to be thoroughly educated about the whole scope of this crime. Because how can you put on a uniform and say you're there to protect your community if the community members are being cooked alive? How can you say that you're honestly a cop? How can you say that to yourself, knowing that your employment description is working directly on behalf of people who are literally cooking babies alive, cooking kids alive, staging rapes all over the country and gang rapes, enslaving people for life? How can you say you're a good cop? How can you say you're a good fire department personnel? How can you say this to yourself? Okay? So, folks, we got to look at all the things that are in play here. So, you need to know that, yes, all San Diego law enforcement has been implicated in this crime, and so is the fire department, because there's no way on my watch that I'm going to let them walk away scot-free without exposing them. Because if a bad police officer and a good police officer can be controlled by the satanic rats who are hosting this, then no one is safe. Okay? If they stage a vehicle accident and the victim car catches on fire and a bad fire department personnel comes to the scene, do you think he's going to put that fire out? Or is he going to act like he's fiddling around with his fire hose, okay, while the victim's burning to death? We got a right. We got every right, okay, to expose the massively implicated people connected to this crime. We have every right, okay? So, I'm going to just play a couple more minutes of this and then I gotta let you go because I got stuff to do. So, always know that if you victimize me, once I become consciously aware that you're playing a role in this crime, I will expose you. I will. Okay, it's the only power I got left right now, folks. You know, I mean, come on. I can't even go to Whole Foods Market without being subject to community-based gang stalking, and that includes by people who are already there, including people who are already in line in front of me before I go there to pick up my Amazon orders. I can't even go to the library. I can't even go to Bond's grocery store. I can't even get on an MTS bus or a bus route. And you would not believe how MTS is involved in this crime. Oh, absolutely, like you would not believe. So let me go back and continue to play the audio file. And as soon as I guarantee you at some point today, I was going to say something, but I decided to let it just rest there. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit more of the audio, and then I'm going to let you go.
Because as soon as you give birth, you register your baby, the government, which is now indeed captured with the Max Crime Cartel, knows that there's a baby. You know, if the baby makes it through to school, it will be put through an IQ test, like happened to me. I didn't even know what an IQ test was. And then they will farm the babies, and they will decide, do we want this baby to stay at the very high IQ, or do we want to decrease the IQ? Do we want to brain mutilate the baby and damage its brain forever? The parents would never know what happened.
That is the absolute truth. I'm here to tell you right now, my fellow American citizens, imagine this, and then I'm going to have to let you go because this video is massively disrupting my ebb and flow of getting packed. I want to tell you something about these sick, vile animals. They are the most demonic, demented, socio-criminally insane psychopaths that have ever walked this friggin' planet. I kid you not. There's scientists saying it. There's doctors saying it. I mean, we're talking about extremely demented people, okay? So, they'll literally, if your kid goes to school and he takes, which all kids are taking these standardized tests at school, well, these same criminally insane psychopaths run the school systems. Absolutely, because they're embedded everywhere. Because you got to remember, gang stalking is a program. It's a program that's an intimate part of everyday life. Okay, so if it sees your child is very bright, they're gonna ask two questions. Do we want the child to excel because maybe we can use the child later on in life for a field that they might go into that could benefit us, like a doctor who can later be controlled, or a scientist who can later be controlled, okay, or whatever, a journalist who can be exploited, okay? Or do we want this child to be farmed out to eventual human trafficking, okay? Because they cannot afford smart people to be walking around, because smart people will be able to deduce what they are once them or their family starts getting targeted, because this crime is so massive. Oh my God, it is massive. And there's massive amounts of people saying this on the internet too, okay? So if they see your child is smart, they're going to give them one of two options. They're going to let them excel to a certain degree, and then they're going to funnel them into an employment description that benefits them whether the person knows it or not, okay? Or they're going to brain mutilate that child so that child does not succeed, and then they'll just manage the rest of that child's life into employment descriptions like for menial labor jobs or human trafficking of some sort. Okay? And there's many forms of human trafficking that the average person is not aware of, like medical human trafficking, insurance fraud schemes. Oh, absolutely. Which I have no doubt I'm a victim of. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And and I know I have been, whether they start targeting my insurance or not, okay, make no mistake about it, I've absolutely been a victim of medical insurance racketeering, where they're using me as a straw person to get to my insurance. Okay, oh, absolutely, they did it all over Michigan, absolutely. So, and they've done it here in San Diego, absolutely. Okay, so you need to understand this is how sick these sick fuckers are. They'll literally cook your baby, your child, your teenager, and even your young adult child. They'll literally cook their brain, including when they're sleeping, so that the brain comes down with neurological dysfunctions so it can't operate in the way that it was meant to. Okay, this is and they'll even do it at school. Because they can hit you with this shit anywhere. They don't care. They're vicious animals. It's all they are. It's all they'll ever be. Okay? So, oh, absolutely. So you hearing me say that, where you're literally hearing me say they will cook your child's brain. Okay? That is who the fire department's connected to. That is who the police are connected to. That is who transportation services are controlled and connected to. Oh, hello, MTS. Okay? That is who your library is connected to. And your schools. They control everything. Okay? And these vile animals need to be seen in the light of day for what they are. Absolutely. Okay? You can't sit back and torture people endlessly and then expect them to be, oh, please don't hurt me no more. Please don't hurt me no more. I'll be a good citizen. I won't expose you anymore. These people will do this to you whether you expose them or not. They don't give a shit about you. They only marginally care about your exposure. Okay? It ain't never expect mercy from somebody who's slowly killing you and doing it through torture. Never count on or expect mercy from them, ever. You cannot sit back and think to yourself, well, if I just change my attitude, they'll stop. If I just do this, they'll stop. That's bullshit. Because for one, they never intended on stopping, ever, no matter what you do or don't do. No matter how you think or don't think. They never planned on stopping. Okay, and never will. And here's another thing. You have a right to your God-given self. Who you are, what God created you to be, and who you are concerning your beliefs, your attitudes, your thoughts. You have a right to that self-autonomy. No one has a right to sit back and say, we're going to do this to you because we're able to do it remotely and walk away scot-free. Okay? No one's got a right to do that. No matter, they're going to continue to do it, obviously. Okay? But doesn't mean they got the right to do it. They don't have the right to do it. Okay? So, if you're a gang stalking victim, understand and know. Never expect mercy or count on mercy. Never let them program you into believing that if you just stop doing this, you won't experience that. Never, ever let them control you to that point. Because here's two things. They won't stop. Whether you stop doing anything that you believe is pissing them off. Okay? They're not going to stop. Okay? They got a goal from you from day one. They're not going to stop. Okay? This is what they do for a living. They were paid to torture you to death. So give them hell on your way out. Absolutely. Okay? That way your information that you're sharing might save a baby. It might save a single mother or a single father. Okay? It might save an elderly person. It might save a homeless person. It might save your average Joe. Because these people don't give a shit. They're vile animals. Okay? I gotta let you go, folks, because I don't want my battery in my phone to get much lower, and I got a bunch of stuff I gotta do. Okay? So, everybody just be good. Everybody that's out there, be good to each other. You'd be surprised how easy your life is when you're decent to people. I mean, people that obviously deserve it. Okay? Be decent to people. And get all negative, corrupt, insane people out of your life. Get toxic people out of your life. People that refuse to change. Okay? The people that are hurting you that refuse to change. Okay? Because people that are good people and decent people, if they're hurting you and they might not be aware of it, now I'm starting to go off into a rant. Sorry, folks. They might not be aware that they're hurting you. Set your boundaries, keep them, and enforce them. And if somebody doesn't like your boundaries and because they don't care, okay, because you can usually tell between the type of people who care and don't care, okay? So just be good to each other. Be safe, be prudent in who you let in your life, and be careful, because social infiltration is an absolute method of gang stalking, and that includes at schools at practically all levels. You wouldn't believe what I've seen go on in let me just put it to you this way. Through educated knowledge, I've seen this shit perpetrated in grade school, like from first grade up to what, 4th or 5th, before you start going on to middle school. I've seen this shit going on in grade school. Okay, concerning exposures about it online. Alright, I gotta let you go, folks, because I got stuff to do today. Everybody have a good day. Stay safe out there. Be good to each other, and stay tuned to this account and research what was exposed.